NIO June and second quarter delivery numbers are finally out and the numbers are good. It is a monthly record, so let's talk about this and what it all means and also compare it a little bit to competitors. As always, I would appreciate an early thumbs up. This really helps the YouTube algorithm. It's basically my currency as a YouTuber, but if you would also like to support the research that we're doing, not only talking about the news, but doing actual research, and on top of that, giving you insights that you possibly don't find somewhere else, and I have some of that in this video, then please also consider to become a patron of the channel. With that out of the way, let's dive into the numbers. And NIO delivered more than 8,000, actually 8,083 cars in June 2021, so that's a 116% year-over-year growth, and that brings us to a total of 21,896 vehicles delivered within the quarter. And if you remember, the quarterly guidance by NIO was between 21,000 to 22,000 cars that are going to be delivered. NIO had to kind of reinstate those numbers because NIO had really troubles in the beginning of this quarter, mainly due to the chip shortage. So it wasn't quite sure actually that these numbers could be met. So whereas these numbers are not a beat of those guidance numbers, like sometimes in the past, but they are still on the high side of the guidance, which is obviously good. Now, as always, also let's dive a little bit deeper here and look more closely. So here's the split between the cars which they've delivered, the ES6, the ES8 and the EC6. And notably, the ES8 is still selling quite well, actually better than the last month, close to 1,500 cars. And this is important because from the price and the specs, this is usually the car with the highest average sales prices. So it's always an indicator also on the revenues. I'm gonna do a separate video on the quarterly financials, but just to say this, it looks that it is solid, but it's also not a record regarding this. So possibly it will not have the highest average sales prices that we've ever seen this time. So instead, from the ES8, the growth was mainly coming from the ES6, so that's the smaller brother, as well as the EC6. That is, let's say the newly launched model, for which we don't have actually year-over-year growth numbers because it was launched later. But for the ES6, for instance, we see that this was growing 52% year-over-year and the ES8 19% year-over-year. So that results in a quarterly model split in which the ES6 is the leading car that's been sold. It's down a bit for the ES8 as mentioned before, but still in a, let's say, in a good proportion here. I mean, the notable thing here about NIO is that they are really selling premium cars. So the average sales prices, for instance, are higher than Teslas in China even. They are more close to, for instance, Mercedes-Benz. So over time, we may actually see some pressure on the average sales prices because maybe they need to sell more of the ES6, the lower cost models there. But then we also get the ET7 coming soon, and that should also once again raise the bar on the average sales prices. And I think that will be a good selling model despite the price actually. And this brings me also to the next point, which is comparing it with, for instance, competitors. So XPeng also reported that they sold 6,565 cars. And that's a really nice increase from the last month. So it seems that XPeng is nicely ramping the sales here as well. And although you could now say that, well, XPeng is growing quicker than NIO here and it's catching up with NIO quickly, I would mind and say that, well, you need to look at this really differentiated because the NIO cars are on average, once again, so much pricier, and on the same car, on the margin, they make so much more money at the same car that actually for XPeng, they would right now need to sell more than double of the amount from NIO, and NIO is still a little bit on absolute numbers above what XPeng is selling there. But of course, over time, we should probably see that XPeng numbers are overtaking NIO. And is that a problem? No, it's not a problem. It's actually to be expected because XPeng is just so low in the tier of the target group which they are focusing on. They are more in the mass market and even like the low priced car models there. So they will not have the same vehicle margins and the same profits per vehicle sold. And therefore, they always need to sell more vehicles in order to break even at some point. But nonetheless, XPeng share price also up, looking good pre-market as well. So yes, they are doing a good catch-up, and let's see now whether or not this will have any impact on Tesla. And well, the Tesla seems to be a little bit under pressure here recently, particularly in China. And well, if you remember last quarter, what has happened is that NIO and XPeng were reporting quite good numbers, and then a couple of days later, Tesla came around the corner and was surprising everyone. And this could possibly happen again, because I'm frankly not too worried about their demand in China. I think they have a different strategy right now in serving the world, with the cars being exported from Giga Shanghai. So yes, I'm seeing some rumors floating around here on Twitter, for instance, around that Tesla sales in China may be even less than Q1. But I don't want to speculate around that. The fact that Elon is tweeting a lot of funny stuff right now on Twitter tells me that he is in a good mood. And possibly he knows that Tesla is going to have Q2 numbers that are going to rock. And then I would expect a breakout of Tesla stock as well. And this could finally make Tesla trying to break the 700s here. It's still grinding along this uptrend, which is kind of the resistance for now. And maybe with good numbers, it can jump over it and then, roll into the 700s here. Otherwise, it may well go down and retest the 640s here. As for NIO, yesterday we had this really nice green candle up here, and that was actually going pretty much in sync with the chart that I drew in my last video. So you can see we're now having this resistance here from the last highs. So we need to break through that, and actually pre-market it's looking like that. But guys, this time I'm not gonna jinx it. Pre-market doesn't mean anything. Let's see what happens during the day. Now back to the NIO numbers and giving you some more flavor here. So for once, I do think that the 8,000 cars might be somewhat of a little bit of a sandbagging here. I actually do think that NIO may be able to produce and deliver more currently, and that I possibly actually have already done so. And the reason for that is that NIO will only report cars that are actually getting delivered. And I know that they already sent some to Norway, and I think they will only get reported in the NIO sales once they're actually in the hands of the Norwegian customers. So NIO possibly already has produced and shipped more cars already, but they're just not in the financial reports or in the delivery reports yet. Another boost to that is possibly the ongoing partnership with Intel Mobileye, where we have the news that they have sent cars to Israel, possibly not that many to be honest, and not sure really, well, they're possibly going to use the ES8 for that, but I still rumor around what Project Gemini could actually be around, so maybe a new car model for the 60,000 capacity that NIO is building additionally. So, well, that might be all some hidden production that is going on, and possibly NIO is just trying to maybe have the sales in the range of the expectations for now, because frankly we have Q3 and Q4 coming up, which should be more important in terms of growth and where we should actually see higher growth rates and numbers. But now the good thing is that we finally managed to get through Q2 without a major miss there, despite the chip shortage and what all is going on. And now cyclical automotive industry Q3 and Q4 naturally has more demand and more cars being delivered, and that should be a nice boost going into the end of the year, and possibly also what is behind the current rally in the NIO stock price. And I think NIO is actually already preparing on this ramp for the next quarters, and I have some insight regarding that. So this is a current sales campaign going on for the NIO EC6, and those who are putting down 0 deposit, they will get some additional accessories for the car. And as we can see here, more than 20,000 people have already participated in this campaign. So that doesn't mean that all of the 20,000 that are in this campaign will check this car out and buy it in the end, but there will surely be a high percentage of that that converts into an actual sale, and that is filling the order books for Q3 and Q4. That's only one car model, that's only one of the Huodongs, like the activities in China that you will see. The Chinese are all about sales activities and discounts and so on. And so this campaign proves that NIO is already working on the deliveries for the next quarters coming up. So possibly they well know about the importance of Q3 and Q4 numbers and how much of actual demand will be coming during those months and how to manage that. So let's see. NIO is increasingly getting good at meeting the investor expectations. Anyways, gonna do a separate video on speaking on the financial numbers regarding the Q2 of NIO earnings before they come up, obviously. And so far, hope you liked the video. Let me know down in the comments if you are happy with the quarterly results or not. And also let me know down in the comments whether or not you think that NIO has possibly dialing down the numbers a little bit just to stay within the guidance and possibly sandbagging for the next quarters to come. Anyways, thank you guys for watching and see you in the next one.